If you're a Christian, you might have heard that love is selfless once or twice in your lifetime. I am here to challenge that idea. We're going to start off in Corinthians 13, where love is described. So let's listen carefully and try to hear whether love is described as selfless. So 1 Corinthians 13, love is patient and kind. Love does not envy or boast. It is not arrogant or rude. It does not insist on its own way. It is not irritable or resentful. It does not rejoice at wrongdoing, but rejoices with truth. Love bears all things, believes all things, hopes all things, endures all things. Love never ends. So here we can see that love is not described as selfless. But let's look at a verse before this. Verse 3 says, "If I give away all I have, and if I deliver up my body to be burned, but have not love, I gain nothing." So if it says that I do not have love, I gain nothing, that logically means that if I do have love, I do gain something. In order for something to be selfless, you need to not be gaining anything in return. You're supposed to be doing it out of a pure motive of a sort of like not getting anything back. You just do it because you do it for somebody else's benefit. But here love is described as if you don't have love, you gain nothing. And so the whole idea in the Bible, we can see it throughout the whole Bible that God, when he tells his people to follow different rules or different commandments or live in a certain way, there's so many promises that come along with it. Spiritual blessings, physical blessings. God never tells people to do something without some kind of gain for them in return. And so I want to illustrate it in this like a story. So imagine a billionaire comes up to you and he tells you, "Hey, whatever money you make this year, I would like you to give it to the poor and to the homeless. So every single evening, I want you to take the money that you make and I want you to go and make a meal for the poor and give it to them. But in a year, everything that I own will become yours. And throughout this whole year, you don't have to go hungry. You can just come over to my place and eat every single day at my place. So like, don't worry about that. Just like the little job that you have where you make like the minimum wage. I want you to take that money and give it to the homeless." And so that's kind of the idea we get in the Bible. Not like straight up, but just like to illustrate this point. Like this is not like this is the theology of the Bible, but like just to demonstrate this point. Basically, God makes us great and wonderful promises, and he's like, and right now, meanwhile you're doing these things, you get to have fellowship with me and you get to partake in the blessings that I give you, spiritual blessings, physical blessings, but I ask you to do this and this. So if you having those promises from a billionaire who tells you that everything that he owns will become yours and you get to go to his house every single day and eat, when you're going to be serving those homeless people, are you going to think, "Oh, I'm so selfless. I don't care about myself. I just care about these people"? No, you're never going to think that, because you know that the promises that you are promised are so much greater. So the same with God. If we are doing things, if we are loving on people, if we are showing them compassion, if we are showing them, what is love described as? If we are showing them patience, if we are showing them kindness, and if we are not being boastful or arrogant around them, are we going to think to ourselves, "Oh, I'm so selfless for doing those things"? No, of course not, because you see the promises that God has promised and you trust God that he will deliver on those promises. And also in your daily life, you're already seeing, like, as the Bible would describe it, like the first fruit of those promises, or like the beginning of those promises, as God fills your heart with joy and peace and all these beautiful things daily as you fellowship with him, as you have communion with him. So I think one of the silliest things that have been done in Christianity today is to describe love as selfless, because it kind of creates a victim mentality in Christianity where we think that we're doing these things and harming ourselves at the same time. We're like, oh, we're doing these things and we're losing, but we're doing it all for God. So we're like, we're doing these good things for God, when in reality, it's God doing wonderful things for us. And He's promising wonderful things. And we're just like, we lose sight of those things, or we just don't understand the promises that God has made for us, or we're not partaking in the promises that God has made for us today. And that's why we think that we are actually giving something to God, or we are suffering in a way, or we are losing. No, that's not what the Bible teaches. And if you feel like your walk with God and you loving people and you showing love to people is causing you harm instead of gain, and if it's causing you bitterness instead of joy, you might not fully understand the promises of God, and you might not fully understand what it is that God has promised you, and you might not already be partaking in the things that you should be partaking as a Christian, in the joy and the peace and the communion with God. So if that's something if that's something you're struggling with, you should really look into what God has promised you, because the things that the world offers you and the things that are offered to you right now in the physical or in the monetary gains, you might not understand just how much greater what God has to offer you is. So God is the most beautiful, God is the most wise, God is the richest, God is the all-knowing. I don't, I don't even know how to describe this, but His promises are everlasting and they're true and they're solid. Everything you could be gaining right now, it will all pass away. But the things that are promised by God, they will never pass away. And so the question is, if you feel like you're losing, if you feel like you're suffering by loving, do you truly believe in the promises of God? Do you truly believe that what He has to offer is more beautiful, is more solid, is more eternal? So think about that. Have a good day and God bless.